issues going on with your home, roofing, your windows messed up, plumbing messed up, that would be considered critical, right?
Yes, this is an opportunity for residents who are having certain problems with their homes, wanting to build them up so that they can be a safe environment, good environment to live in and to thrive in. And so the city of Birmingham opens up this program each year. This year they will be working with 100 families who can get up to $30,000 to help those repairs. Now, not a whole lot of money, but if you're in need of a new floor, roofing, painting, those type things, that would be something that could help you as a citizen. And so it's important to me, we're not building a lot of new homes in our legacy areas in District 7, but this is a way to keep that revitalization, that infrastructure strong by helping people to repair their homes so they could continue to live in them rather than wanting to walk away from the home. And this is something the city does every year.
Okay, well, let's talk about the time limit. Now, this don't last for a whole 2-3 years.
You're so
There
right.
is a time limit on this.
This portal will open on September 4th and 5th. But what I want residents to be prepared for, they've already had 2 other information sessions. Now, the time is kind of near today, but today at 5:30 at the Fighting Heights Recreation Center, you can go over and you can get more information about this program. The more you're prepared and ready when that portal opens on September 4th and 5th, the more likely your opportunity to be a part of this program.
Okay, so that's going down the 4th and the 5th was when of September, when the portal opens.
Yes.
So after the 5th, they might have to wait, right?
That's right. It's highly competitive. And as I said, there are only 100 families, but I don't want to think only 100 families. Now, last year in District 7, we did have about 30 families that qualified for the program. I'd like to see that number increase, but for all citizens across the city of Birmingham. This is an opportunity to take advantage of some of the funds that we've set aside, again, to make our neighborhoods safe and look good.
Okay, now what else we got?
I want to talk about community health and wellness. One program that I'm very excited for is about Get Fit While You Sit. This is a program for our seniors. We know that our seniors, we're not that active, and sometimes we have different medical issues, diabetes, overweight, less mobility. These are things that can impact our quality of life. By offering this free class to residents, and even though it's in District 7, I'm inviting everyone out. Come out to the Roosevelt Rec Center, 9:30 every Thursday morning. And I really want to thank Commissioner Sheila Tyson. She has helped me to sponsor this as part of a D7 initiative. And again, community health and wellness is something that I'm really concerned about. And for our seniors, that mobility, but remember, your brain is a muscle that needs to be exercised. And I was in the class the other day, and we had an 80-something-year-old participant, and she talked about how this has strengthened her, given her more vitality. And so it's a free class, 1 hour. Get fit while you sit.
Get fit while you sit. Thank you so much there. I want to say commissioner, but you're not. You're councilwoman, president pro tem down there at City Hall. Thank you for all the work that you guys are doing in the community, and Godspeed to those that are going to take advantage of getting their houses repaired.
Yes, that is so important to me. And like I said, get the information. You can call down to City Hall, or you can look on the website and get more information about it.
Gotcha. It's going down, y'all. Brian K. Rice, come on in here. Thank you. Thanks a lot, baby.
Zero Comedy Jam invades Birmingham Friday, August 29th at the Boutwell, starring Bill Bellamy, Nephew Tommy, Birmingham's own Mrs. V, and more. Tickets and details are right there at myv949.com. W235BS Birmingham, WATV Birmingham, a Courtney French Broadcasting Company. We are V949 WATV, and the V stands for variety.
Hey, wait just a minute.
It's time now for the 3-time Abby Award-winning Think Tank with Chris Coleman. Got something to say? Hit Chris up at 205-994-8949 right now. The Think Tank turns up. Now.
It's really time to get into it right now. V94.9 WATV, and the V stands for variety. Chris Coleman is here, hanging out with us right here. We talked last month. I think it was last month when we talked, and I said, you got to come back. You need an hour. You had 30 minutes, and I said, man, you need an hour. all that stuff you was talking. I said, you ain't gonna get all this out. He said, you know what? I'll be back for an hour. Ladies and gentlemen, running for mayoral candidate, maybe for mayor, he is mayoral candidate, Brian K. Rice. Brian, what's going on, man?
Man, thank you for inviting me out again.
Hey,
thank
man.
you for being here. Thank you for allowing this opportunity.
Because you asked so much, and it looked like you was rushing. And I said, man, if I'd have known he had this much information, I'd have told him an hour the last time. I said, man, you got to come back. You like, I'm coming back.
Man, let me break it down, Birmingham. Yeah. For 15 years straight, my pastime is studying Birmingham history. My pastime is studying the economic conditions in our underserved communities. But when you study those, you have to study Italian history, Lebanese history. You'll study a lot. So there's so much information that I do have. So now, over the last few years, I've been studying policies. So it's a passion, but it was more of trying to understand why all communities are not created equally, and what can we do to improve our communities.
I want to say that don't think that it's not going unnoticed, and it's easy. And I mean, a blind man can see. You could drive on the other side of Arkadelphia, and it looks totally different than it does on the west side of Arkadelphia. So I don't know if you want to start with policy right now. Where would you like to start, and then I can dive in where you are. So what we start with?
Well, first let's just give a better feel of my background. Brian K. Rice. I'm 45 years old. Spent 20 to 25 years in manufacturing, engineering, a good amount in business development. Mostly selling construction and engineering services, but then also I jumped into real estate when I was in Charlotte, owned 8 commercial properties in downtown Ensley. But before I came back, everybody who knew me, they knew me as this socialite who would have all these cookouts, but then they also knew me as a guy that would commit so much time to mentoring. When I first came back to Birmingham, I was mentoring on a regular at Hawkins Park, at Ensley Park, at Central Park, at Memorial Park, but I chose to invest more time into Central Park. But then eventually I realized I didn't have enough resources. So that's the reason why I bought my buildings, to create residual income, to create more funds for mentoring programs.
Okay. So mentoring is one of your biggest things. I think that's one of the things you really like to do is mentor. Am I correct?
Yes.
I hear you say it all the time. Mm-hmm. So that's let me know that's a passion there for mentoring, right?
Yeah, it's a passion. It's a purpose on the inside. My mother was a teacher at Parker High School, and she spent a lot of extra time tutoring and things like that. So it all rubs off on me. So, Mom, thank you.
Nothing wrong with that. So. You talked about studying Birmingham and studying why, or trying to come up with reasons why certain parts of Birmingham look different than the other parts of Birmingham. Something tells me that you found some answers, and you're probably looking for more answers, and you're going to always continue to look for more answers. So let's get into it. What have you found, and that's pertaining to this election that can be brought out in your favor? What have you found?
The biggest concern that I've seen is related to development in our underserved communities. In 2011, the city of Birmingham is preparing their comprehensive plan. They released it in 2013 or 2014. In the document, the city comprehensive plan that we're still using today, it specifically says we must retreat from the paradigm of channeling resources for revitalization to promote growth in these former industrialized areas. We are focused on demolition. So let's put that in layman's terms. We must not put resources in these underserved areas because we are going to focus on other parts of the city. So that's a policy that's written on paper. So that's been going on for 15 years. So think about that senior who spent her entire life paying off her house, but then the city where she lives is intentionally not investing resources in her community for 15 years. So that is a policy. And so actually there may be some legal rights if you can prove that you have lost property value. I want people to understand that, you have rights in this situation. So that's something. And so with that, the other thing is we're copying a model out of New Orleans and Detroit. And African Americans in both New Orleans and Detroit have lost their property through fast condemnations, the land bank processes, things like that. So if we're copying their model and we're seeing it happen here, we're just 15 or so years behind. So I want to make sure we figure out a way to address that policy. Yeah.
How can we stop that?
How can we stop? First of all, we gotta address it.
Okay,
we gotta recognize it.
Right.
So in the 2017 study, the SHAPE study, it says the same thing, but then it talks about actually in the North Side South Side framework plan, it talks about the importance of focusing on redevelopment. It says the city is better off if it does redevelopment, but we still do demolition. So the policies are there, the words are there. We need to follow what is there.
Okay. So you say it's policy there, and for what you're discussing, you're saying that's just a bad policy all the way around. How do we change that policy? Who changes it? Does city council change? Does the mayor change? Do both the mayor and the city council come together? Or is that something that we have to go to Montgomery to change? How does it change?
So let's think about this. So there's a book called How to Kill a City. This book came out in 2017. We are following this model. It's on the current administration book club list. We are following the model. And it talks about let's make sure we pull resources from these communities so we can focus those resources somewhere else. So we have gotten so used to demolition that we celebrate demolition. And we're not celebrating and we're not pushing development on these vacant lots or redevelopment of some of these houses or buildings that can be restored. So we have to change our mindset and not accept demolition as success.
Where can we find this policy? Is there some place we can go downtown? Let's say, you got to go to the third floor and you can open up the book and it's right there. Do you know the name of the policy? Is there a number on the policy? Where can we go, citizens, since we pay for it, where can citizens go read up on this policy so they can have an argument? Because like you said, if there's some lawsuits can be had, they need to be able to go research. Where can they find this policy?
Well, right now, I would recommend everyone to just Google 2000 City of Birmingham Comprehensive Plan. It's the only one we have done in like almost 25 to 50 years, but it was originally created under bail. So look up the 2013 Comprehensive Plan, Birmingham Comprehensive Plan, and Google will get you to that document. That document's online. I hadn't do any special research to get to it.
Okay, so you say it is online for anybody that can go pick that up.
Yes.
Okay.
The other document is the 2017 Birmingham SHAPE study. There's a lot of documents in there, I would gladly put it on bkrice.com. Because it's very important to me and it's very important to others. So I gladly put these up because I probably have about 40 documents right here, but those two, I could quickly put those up online after the debate tonight because we are debating at 6 o'clock tonight.
Yeah, so after the debate, you're going to be able to go do all of that.
Yeah,
okay, so we talked about policy. You talked about things that can change. What can we do now to, if you're a mayor and it's tomorrow, and you sitting down, what the first thing that you're doing to start bringing change into the areas you're talking about? What are some of the things that you know in your power that you can do?
Well, the number one thing, and I keep repeating it every time, the first thing I will do is grant permission to the city council for us to start studying and reviewing to make suggested changes to the Mayor Council Act. I want to make sure the citizens have appropriate balance of power. If the city council does not have an appropriate voice and they don't feel like they can speak up and speak up properly against the executive branch, I want to make sure that city council has appropriate power. I know I will reduce some of my power, but we're going to look at what else is happening around the country. We're not just going to base it off of what's just here. We got to look at best practices. So the next thing, let's say we're talking about housing. I'm telling you, in 1990 or 1995, the Birmingham Chamber of Commerce at that time, they put together a document for, let's say, the next 10 or 20 years. It has about 30 different solutions or suggestions for housing and how to create more housing in the city. So we are not recreating anything new. It's going and finding what is there and investing in it.
So the Mayor Council Act, I want to get back to that if I'm not mistaken. The Mayor Council Act has something to do with down there in what's that, Montgomery.
Yes, correct.
So I know you want to go in and change it, but I think all of you might have to go down to have a conversation down
100%.
there with them at Montgomery in the State House, because Montgomery just somehow or another got a lot of weight here. We can't even change and get our own. What's that? I remember when Jonathan Austin was on the city council, he's trying to get the minimum wage raised to $10.10, and Montgomery said, "Nah, you can't do that." No, because some people from over the mountain came in and said that. So, who's going to have to lead that charge to change that mayor council act so you can, I guess, make the changes you think you need to make?
Well, first of all, we have to grant. The mayor is the only one at City Hall that can grant permission for the city council to even make suggestions. I do not like that part of the policy because I feel as though that's taking away a person's freedom of speech. If our city councils do not have a freedom of speech, I mean, we don't have a First Amendment of the United States Constitution. So things like that. But we would have to submit a bill or submit suggestions to our state representatives, and then our state representatives would potentially submit the bill. So we have to create a stronger or a relationship. But each time that I believe that Mayor Council Act have gone forward, I believe there has been a Montgomery that has been willing to work with the city of Birmingham.
Okay. I'm talking to Brian K. Rikes. He's running for mayor of the city of Birmingham. He's in here with us today. We got him for a whole hour because the last time he was here, he was like speed racer going through this stuff. So I wanted him to take his time to talk about things that he would like to do here in the city of Birmingham. I wanted him to be able to get his point across instead of him rushing. He has a whole hour, so we're gonna get to the bottom of it. Some of the things that you see that are not being done that can be done. Let's talk about that. And what are your plans on getting that done for the city of Birmingham?
My number one focus is the economy and ethics. I'm extremely concerned about how far out we have gotten when it comes to ethics. I feel as though there are too many deals that are done for the benefit of public officials and the benefit of staff. I want to make sure
you got any. Let's talk about that part because you're not the only one that said that. What have you seen to make you think that is happening, or that you know for a fact that that's happening? What have you seen? Let's talk about some of those instances where something has ethically been done wrong here in the city of Birmingham.
Well, Montgomery is the one that has to say it's an ethics violation. We say alleged and things like that, but. If any one of you get a chance to go to bkrice.com, I specifically created a page called Accountability and Ethics. There are about 8 different examples on that page right now. One thing that I'm extremely concerned about is the sale of city schools. We sold North Birmingham School. We purchased North Birmingham School. We purchased Hill School for like $800,000. I think North Birmingham was $650,000. Ensley High School was $50,000. And it's very unfortunate that the city attorney, her husband, is the realtor. It's things like that that bother me. I'm extremely concerned about stuff like that. To be honest,
is that a written rule that's not supposed to happen? Because a lot of people just don't know. Yeah. They don't know what it looks like, and you're saying stuff that some of these people have never heard before. So what is the rule behind that where the average voter can go and say, you know what, that's wrong? Because, they don't know. And I'm asking from them because I'm telling you they are saying the same thing. If is there something written down saying that that's not supposed to happen? And if it is, maybe let them know where it is so they can go see it and then they can learn it.
I think everyone in the city of Birmingham and any city you live in, I think we need to get familiar with Muni Code, M-U-N-I code.
M-U-N-I code.
It's a website, so you can look up Birmingham Muni Code, you can look up Chattanooga Muni Code, and you can do word search of anything that's in the city ordinances, anything that's under City Hall. But we have an ordinance that says no city official or no city employee shall profit from the contracts and services thereof of the city of Birmingham.
And that's a Muni code.
Yeah, that's in there. Yeah, but you can look in the Muni code and it's everything just digital. Everything, all the city ordinances are on that website, and you can do word search. You can do a word search for contract or profit, but then also when you think about the Alabama Ethics Commission, they have a complete list down there where it talks about personal gain. No one should.
Well, I'm saying, who's the personal gain? You're saying, if I'm understanding you, if I'm if I'm sitting there as I work for the city of Birmingham, but my wife is a realtor, she's not supposed to get a piece of property if she can afford it, to buy it and sell it. She's not supposed to do that if I work for the city.
But it also says no personal or private gain for another. So it's when you're being intentional. For example, with the city attorney one that I'm concerned about is her and her husband. They're in the same house. That's personal gain potentially. Like for example, I'll give you the perfect example. I love the scholarship part of Birmingham Promise. I love the scholarship part of it. In this case, when the original workforce development manager was planning it, this person was hired not to work in Division of Youth Services, which would have made sense, was hired to work in the Economic Development Office. We call it IEO. And that person was planning out all the detail of the Birmingham Promise. And then the moment, it was actually July of 19 when it first went before the city council. In October of 19, the city council approved $10 million for Birmingham Promise. Then, just a few months later, this person walks out of City Hall and is now the executive director of what you just got $10 million approved for on the inside. So it's things like that. We need, I'm concerned, there's something called a revolving door. When you walk out of City Hall, you're supposed to have like a 2-year period where you're not supposed to benefit for what you did at City Hall. So we're talking about walk out and immediately become the executive director of what you created. That is that. So in that.
So that's unethical, is what you're saying. You're not supposed to do that.
Yes.
Okay.
That's ethics law.
Okay, that's ethical.
It's things like that I'm extremely concerned about. And it doesn't mean that you always will fire a person or anything like that. But you have to have some discipline to make sure it doesn't keep happening. Because if you do not have any version of discipline, when something happens and then someone sues the city, then they're going to use that against you, to make sure they get as much money as they can. So we still have to have we got to have guardrails. We can't just keep letting it happen.
So you're saying that ethically, the way the city is ran unethically wrong. You want to go ahead and straighten all of that.
Yes.
Day one, you got to get that.
Yes, I'm extremely concerned about the Pratt City development.
Okay.
At 1430 Pratt Highway. I'm extremely concerned about the $9 to $10 million that was given to the Ramsey McCormick, and all we have is an empty lot. I'm extremely concerned about the no bid preferential contract for the Crossplex. These are all in meetings. So I remember Hunter Williams getting extremely mad about the Crossplex. He said, shouldn't you have brought this before us? This usually go through RFP. And then immediately afterwards, the economic development director started backing up and saying, oh, no, we don't have a contract. We don't have anything. And then 2 weeks later, his same friend get the $1.4 million contract. It's things like that that bothers me for two reasons. Number one, I want to make sure local businesses get the opportunity first. If our local businesses do not have a chance to bid properly, then they have no chance to develop their business. We have no chance to put our tax dollars back in the city, create more jobs, support more families.
There's a couple of things about changes, and I'm hearing you talking about changes. Here you're talking about policy. It's got to be something else that you're seeing in the near future inside your bold vision for Birmingham that you're going to have to move aside or move out of the way in order for you to get where you need to go. What are some of the stuff you got to move out of the way that's going to keep you from your bold vision of the city of Birmingham or getting us to that bold vision?
I think it's a culture. I think that I was trying to figure
a city culture or working in the city culture. Which is it? Is it the people that are in the neighborhoods or when it comes to the culture?
One of the ladies said the soil is angry here.
You said the soil.
The soil is angry. That's what a lady told me.
Okay.
But I think there's a culture. and for the African Americans that have been in leadership for a significant period of time, they're the culture of making it harder for other African Americans in particular to win. Mm-hmm. And that culture has to be changed. And we always say it's a culture of cliques. And that culture has to be changed. We have to recreate a standard of excellence where more people get true opportunity. So that culture. There are so many ideas. There's so many things that I would love to see. For example, we have this the Birmingham Waterworks Board situation.
Yeah, I kind of understood some of it. As long as I've been here and been known about the Birmingham Waterworks Board, what just happened to me, I believe shouldn't have never happened. But there's no way of reversing it. Or do you have a plan to get it reversed? Or have you talked to somebody about reversing what just happened? What's the plan?
Well, first of all, it will likely still be in litigation. If the voters, bless me and put me in office.
You said it'll still be in litigation.
It will still be in litigation.
Okay.
So there's an opportunity to see where all the breaches or flaws are in the argument on either side.
Okay.
So as long as that opportunity is there, you'll see. But then a former city councilor says, well, we may have to create a referendum and buy it back. So that was a suggestion. But let's think about this. Let's think about something about this. Mm-hmm. In the 2011 study, or the comprehensive plan that was created in 11 and 12 but released in 13 or 14, it talks about us having four or more, the Birmingham Waterworks Board supporting four or more counties. The law that expedited the sale or the transfer to a regional board was created in 2015. So that means if we had 4 or 5 counties in, that means for 10 years, no one was looking at that policy. They could have took it potentially in 16 or 17 or 18 or 19. We should have made sure we should probably sold off of St. Clair assets. We should have sold off a Blunt asset. We should have sold off at least 2 assets to make sure that Regional Waterworks Board situation does not happen. So we're losing an entire entity because we didn't sell off 2 assets.
Talking to Brian K. Rice, he is running for mayor of the city of Birmingham. And Brian, I want to ask you about growth. Birmingham has seen a significant amount of people leaving and exodus. Found out today that IKEA is putting an IKEA in Huntsville before they put one here. I can give you some of the reasons why they're going to Huntsville. 1, it's a military town. 2, it's a college town. So I can see an IKEA going to Huntsville right off the bat. But why are we losing to a Mobile? Why are we losing to a Huntsville? And how are you going to change that to bring the growth back into Birmingham so we get those IKEAs and stuff like that here in the city of Birmingham?
Well, everyone knows, whether we like it or not, people decide where they're going to live with their kids based on education. People are going to decide where they live based on crime. I am one of few people in comparison to the amount of people who have left a place like a Inslee, who left a place like a Pratt City, who has the resources to live somewhere else, but choose to move back or move to that area. So we have abandoned these areas. So all this neglect is just building up and building up and building up. So let's say, for example, with the schools, I've been thinking about it differently. If Birmingham City Schools is a detractor for people, so how do we incentivize more private schools in the city? How do we do it? How do we incentivize, or how do we support more home schools? I want more people to live in the city of Birmingham, so we have a larger tax base. We don't have as many vacant lots. So thinking about it on that level, everyone knows that crime is a real issue. I'm extremely concerned about every time we adding another law to already to gun laws and laws that's already there. We're already the 5th most incarcerated place in the world. So just locking up, those who are breaching laws has not improved the situation. We have to be very intentional with programs like the PAT, or very intentional about trade and workforce development, very intentional about entrepreneurship development, very intentional about how do we restore as many buildings as possible throughout the city. And so with that, one of the first acts, or one of the first things that I will do, I want to make sure we call a meeting with all business owners of the city. We have to think about it in different pockets. So we have these outlying areas. Let's say I'm calling it outlying Central Parks. We got the Wylands. We got these historic districts. But then we have these small little commercial spots in these different areas. There's a conversation that's different than downtown. But how do we help you grow jobs? How do we help you restore these buildings? And once we can do that, we can support more families, and we can increase the revenue for the city and create more opportunity in the city of Birmingham.
Forbes magazine said that Birmingham is ranked like number 5 in the country among people trying to move back here to get jobs. They had it it was last week when I read it. I couldn't believe it. I Googled it. I'm trying to figure out what are they talking about. I'm like, where's that at? They're saying that more young adults are trying to move here to get jobs. And it says specifically Birmingham. I thought it was a typo, but it says specifically Birmingham. Growing this city is going to take a lot. And I'm going to tell you why. I don't think we have enough entertainment to keep the youth who graduate from college who want to have a nightlife. We got to be able to compete with Atlanta or Nashville or a Charlotte. I don't think we are even scratching the surface there. So you got a lot of young people who are not married. You got a lot of young people who are single, but they want to stay here, but it's not appealing. Although we are a very big family oriented, I just say the shifting is changing to them. How can I put them? The Gen Zers and the Alphas who are going to be coming out in a couple of years. You got to keep them here because you want them to build families too, but you got to have something here for them. What are your plans for those, 5 colleges within this area, keeping them here to help grow the city? How do we do that?
So first of all, I'm glad I had the pleasure of living in Charlotte, North Carolina, living in Houston, Richmond, Virginia, Milwaukee for a little bit, and then Knoxville, Tennessee. But my favorite city of all is Charlotte, North Carolina. The social life I had there was amazing. Socially, there's nothing attracts me to here socially, in comparison to what I've seen. I'm in my mind, I'm sacrificing to be here. I'm sacrificing that part of that social life. Now, first of all, I'm concerned about that article, but we have been pushing tech jobs. We have been pushing medical jobs across the city, but we have a lot of underskilled people in the city and unemployed people. So I'm always going to go back to business. People are going to go where they can improve their life and their living conditions. So I'm constantly thinking about all these vacant buildings that spread out across the city. We must figure out a way to restore as many of them as possible and put jobs in there. Now, when it comes to schools, now we start thinking about young professionals, and I'm just thinking, just on the spot right here, what attracts a young professional? The more walkable, the better. Downtown is walkable. It's way more walkable than it used to be, and there are a lot of lofts. They got to the point where I think they overbuilt, but there are so many lofts and that lifestyle, so that's where the majority is moving. But when you look at these other areas, they're ignoring these other areas. So in Detroit, since we've been copying the model off of Detroit versus Birmingham, the downtown area of Detroit is like 7.2 square miles or something. Trust me, I don't know why I'm remembering all this stuff, because earlier growing up, my mother would try to get me to read stuff, and I just had trouble comprehending. But it lets me know that God got me in the right world, and I'm recognizing that. But Birmingham has about 4.2 or 4.9 square miles in downtown, and that's where all the focus have been. So downtown is extremely attractive. Now, something that concerned me back in, I think it was February, there was a group of about 500 investors from across the country, and they all was planning on how to buy as many properties as possible in Birmingham. So that means Birmingham residents and taxpayers, you on the menu.
Right now.
You on the menu right now.
Right now, yeah. I can tell you that right now. Look, we're going to take a break. When I come back, I want to dive into the growth and the economy and how we're going to get people back here. One lady put up here the reason why Huntsville is going to be bigger than Birmingham is because of the Tennessee River, and I got to tell her that Birmingport is right here, and that Birmingport can take you from right here off 20th Street to 400 miles north of here. So getting water into and out of Birmingham is not an issue. So if that's an issue, then maybe that need to be said more of. Let's talk about that and more next with Brian K. Rice right here on V94.9 WATV.
V94.9 WATV is keeping you connected to the community each and every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. with the Magic City Spotlight, hosted by Mayor Randall Woodfin.
What's going on, man?
Keeping you informed with the happenings around Birmingham and around your community.
Hey, this is what's really hot and what's really going on.
It's the Magic City Spotlight every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on the all-new V94.9 WATV with Dee Dee in the morning.
Hello, I'm Sheriff Mark Petway, and I am looking for a few good workers with good character. If you are a high school graduate, 19 years of age, have a good record, and want to make a difference in your community, please apply at www.jobsquest.org or call the Sheriff's Office at 205-325-5709. Thank you, and come make a difference.
You took the elevator to the 48th floor and handed him the briefing. Your fingertips touched, sending a shockwave of desire through the air. The room pulsed with a silent craving as he drew you in with his smoldering gaze before uttering the words your body ached to hear.
The next train on track 2 is delayed.
And all the while, you were on your commute home. There's more to imagine when you listen. Discover romance titles on Audible.
There's a lot of uncertainty in the world, but one thing's for sure. You need a PC you can rely on. Whether it's for school, gaming, or whatever your next chapter holds, Lenovo.com has the tech to help you succeed. Shop PCs right now at Lenovo.com during their back-to-school sale, where students can save more when they sign up for a Lenovo Education account. Free shipping, easy returns, flexible financing. That's Lenovo.com.
Lenovo. Citizens of Fairfield, it's time for a better city. Our city is at a crossroads. 34 million in debt, crumbling infrastructure, lack of transparency, few thriving businesses. We've said no more. Now it's time to act. We need progress. We need leadership. We need proven experience. Go to the polls on August 26, 2025 and vote for James Bubba Reeser Jr. for mayor. Paid for by the committee to elect James Bubba Reeser Jr. for mayor.
I'm Walvin King, Alabama Market President of Citizens Trust Bank. Every day, building wealth touches every corner of our lives. We have provided financial stewardship for over a century, helping our customers turn life's goals into accomplishments. Goals like saving for higher education, buying a home, expanding your business. From your first car to a life after retirement, Citizens Trust Bank has been there as a partner for all of your life expectations. We welcome the opportunity to earn your business. Visit us online at www.ctbconnect.com or stop by our financial institution at 1700 3rd Avenue North, downtown Birmingham. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Is the world around you looking a little blurry? Let Blue Vision Center bring your vision back into focus.
Hi, I'm Dr. Latandra Blue, owner of Blue Vision Center, your one-stop shop for comprehensive eye exams for the entire family. We offer stylish eyewear, contact lenses, and expert medical eye care for glaucoma, cataracts, and diabetes.
Call us today at 205-417-2583 or visit us online at bluevisioncenter.com.
Blue Vision Center. See better, look better, live better.
V94.9 WATV is keeping you connected to the community each and every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. with the Magic City Spotlight, hosted by Mayor Randall Woodfin.
What's going on, man?
Keeping you informed with the happenings around Birmingham and around your community.
Hey, this is what's really hot and what's really going on.
It's the Magic City Spotlight every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on the all-new V94.9 WATV with Dee Dee in the morning. The Think Tank is back on right now with Chris Coleman.
What are you talking about?
V94.9 WATV.
We're talking to Brian K. Rice. He's here for the next 26 minutes or so, and we're having a great conversation today. And we were talking to him about his plans for mayor and his plans for growth. I know one thing, the only way your city is going to grow, one, there's got to be businesses here for people to come work, and B, you got to have a school system to put these kids in. I know I had a good conversation with one of our esteemed school board members, and one of them told me 3 weeks ago, that Birmingham's numbers have improved. We're like the third, most improved school system in the state. Seventh in the country, most improved. How do we keep those numbers going that way for the city of Birmingham, for your vision, Brian, of the city? What do you see, and how do you see that growing more?
Well, number one, we be intentional about supporting the local school system. I think every mayor is intentional about supporting. They may have different ways that they do it, so no mayor in my mind has abandoned the school system.
I can't remember any mayor that said, forget the school system. I haven't seen it since Arrington. That's when Arrington started. That's when I started paying attention. I was 13. But since then, I've never seen a mayor say, forget the schools. But what are you seeing if you're sitting in that seat? What do you see?
And now I'm jumping into my mentoring world and my mentoring mind for a moment. And I remember saying this when I used to go out. Our youth cannot be what they cannot see. They cannot want to be what they cannot see. So we have to figure out a way to expose our youth to as much as possible. But it's not just our youth. We've had adults that we have failed as youth. So on my website or bkrice.com, I'm intentional whenever I say we must invest in youth and adult workforce development. We must invest in youth and adult entrepreneurship development. We must think of what Larry Langford said when it came to his crime prevention strategies that he never got to put together, that also was suggested originally by Frank Matthews. He created a 1030 plan that was focused on the most at-risk population in the city between the ages of 10 to 30. But I believe because he and others didn't get a chance to address it, those 30-year-olds are now 40-year-olds, and now we have people who we got a lot going on. There's a lot of gaps when it comes to education. So I don't want us to just only think about the youth education, because we educate for the purpose of helping people become professionals in whatever world they choose, so they can create a livable livable income for themselves, for their families, and whatever their dreams are. So with that, once again, where I believe Birmingham has a great career academies program, but I'm a stickler for how do we get more trades into the city.
We had them. We had them, and they kind of like went away, which I couldn't understand it. You had guys graduating from high school, from barbering and all that stuff, going right into the workforce, making money, and eventually owning their own businesses. Do you think that's what happened? Too many entrepreneurs were being made that would have messed with the bottom line somewhere else? I don't know, but I wouldn't have never gotten rid of the trades. What do you think happened, and how can you bring them back?
Well, it's happened across the country in too many cities, but let's think locally. Hoover has a program called it's a building called RC3. Came in with the 3 C's are right now, but it's just dedicated to youth development and workforce training, things like that. But then in places like Decatur, they have a facility called Robotic Technology Park. And this Robotic Technology Park is essentially designed to teach adults skills related to programming robots. Because inside of these manufacturing companies, there's thousands of robots. But if a person can play the PlayStation, a person understands X, Y, and Z axis from geometry or trigonometry, and they can program robots. So we want to be intentional about letting them see it more. Mm-hmm. I remember when I used to travel a lot, going to colleges at Baltimore Community College or going to high schools in Houston or wherever. I would put pictures of all my friends from all these different backgrounds, whether they were lawyers or whether they was engineers or whatever, and just keep showing them over and over that you can be all of this. That way, when we go into these school systems, they don't just see or just think of those few ideas that we often hear over and over and over. So I'm intentional about that, and a lot of that I put on hold because I've been fighting the economic fight in Inslee, but I want to get back to teaching and educating and helping whether it's adults or youth get to their best life.
So here's a question for somebody out there that wanted to know, what is the candidate's plan to increase black-owned business participation in contracts with City Hall, increasing it from below 1% engagement. What is your plan for that?
Well, it's not so. First of all, the racial disparity study, we must understand. This is probably one of my passions or passionate areas. So let's go back to 1976, and I had it slightly incorrect the other day. Blacks received $476 out of $20 million in contracts.
I remember reading that. Somebody sent that to me. I thought it was a joke.
No.
And you're telling me that, Chris, that's not a joke. That's for real.
That's for real. 1976, blacks had $476 out of $20 million in contracts.
And it was predominantly black back then. Moving toward that.
Yes, but we still had not had David Van institute his 10% plan. So he instituted his 10% plan in 1977. And the first contract that he approved, and Richard Ayrton at that time, councilman, he was on the council. They approved it, and they got sued immediately. And they were in a 12-year lawsuit with the AGC, Bradfield and Gorees, Bryce Building Company, several other companies.
Okay, why? What was the lawsuit about? What happened?
Well, they're suing over equality. So those who have received all the resources for years, now they're using the 14th Amendment and things like that and saying, hey, you're discriminating against us because now that you're finally getting 10%, we don't want you to have the 10%. So they did it like reverse discrimination.
They did a reverse discrimination lawsuit against the city of Birmingham because they was getting 90. They wanted the full 99.5%.
Yeah.
They didn't want to give up. They didn't want to give up the other 9.5.
No, they didn't want to give up. They didn't want to give up anything. So let's go back and fast forward. You got to go to 1989. Birmingham created the Birmingham Construction Industry Authority. A consent decree take place, and I remember Mayor Ayrton made a statement. He's tired of the fight. They've been fighting it for 12 years, so they eventually got to a consent decree. But what is critical about this? From 77 to about 90, we averaged about 10 to 12% in contracts from the city. From about 91 or 92, we went from 10 to 12, and we dropped all the way down to 3% in about 2003 or 2005. So in some areas, we were back up at 8%, but like an area of the professional services and goods, we're under 1%. So because of affirmative action and these lawsuits at Harvard recently, we got to be very strategic about how we use race. My thought is we have a lot of businesses and buildings in a lot of underserved areas. Let's just focus on economic development. If you own those properties, let's help you build and develop those properties. Let's use Amendment 772 that says if it adds to economic development, we can grant you money, we can incentivize you, and we do not have to use race. But we can use the data to show where we need to increase our tax value.
We're talking to Brian K. Rice. He's running for mayor the city of Birmingham, and we're talking about the growth of Birmingham. How can we grow the business as well as the school systems? And you said something earlier about you've never seen a mayor or any mayor just abandon school. They just don't do it. But how could you put more? I mean, I'm just bringing up some of these areas because one of my counterparts brought this up to my attention about Des Moines, Iowa, and Baton Rouge. But all of these people like that have gambling, so a lot of their money is going into the education fund. We don't have that. But how could we put more money into education to build our schools in this area without having to go get it out of general fund or the educational fund in the state?
Let's think about Birmingham. We love Mayor Ayrton and the development deals that he created for the Sheraton and BJCC. We love what Kincaid was able to do, and then he re-upped some of those deals. But then now we fast forward to Weston, the Regents Field, the amphitheater, and Protective Stadium. We put up 55% of the money for Protective Stadium. That's like $90 million. And then all we negotiated back, we didn't really negotiate anything. And I think we're only getting 4% of our 10% of sales tax. But we gave them the land. So we're not getting leases off of the land. We're not getting other revenue that we might be able to get out of other sales inside of these stadiums. And I'm mentioning that same way with the amphitheater, same way with Regents Park, The same way with the BJCC development, we're giving away too much land and we're not adding enough opportunities for more revenue. So it's almost as if we just want to take the picture and we're not protecting the future of assets and revenue. Because if we can raise our revenue because we got better deals, then now we have not a $591 million budget. We got a $700, $800, $900 million budget. Yeah. Then now we got more resources to do what we're supposed to do. But we keep giving our properties away for nothing, and we're not putting enough in the deals to get more revenue.
Yeah, yeah. I wanted to really talk to you about that because I hear you talk sometime about getting more for the city. Yeah. On our resources, and this city is vast. The city of Birmingham is so huge. I mean, all over from Woodlawn to Roebuck to back over here in West End and over here in Raleigh. You got Dolomite. You know, those places are underserved. I was driving through Dolomite and I was driving through Wylam the other day and was like, wow, why hasn't anybody taken advantage of this over here? Wow. And Pleasant Grove is right there. So I'm like, and they already making moves. Yeah, they making money moves over there in Pleasant Grove. So I'm saying, you know, why aren't we taking advantage of the land opportunities we have here, in your opinion? Why aren't we?
Well, the policy says we must retreat from the paradigm of channeling resources toward revitalization to promote growth in these former industrialized areas. Wylam, Dolomite, Ensley. So there we have a policy that's saying we must not put resources over there. And then it says we must right-size the city. And we must focus all of our funds towards downtown, the 4.9 or the 4 point whatever square mile. And it's the same model that Detroit did. But the difference in Detroit, in here, Detroit went through a bankruptcy. And the business owners were the ones doing all the planning. So, yes, they want to make sure that all the money is focused on them, but we're copying their model. And we got to stop copying their model. It wouldn't take a whole lot to get a while of a kickstart. Think about this $9 million for the Rams and McCormick that's been given. $9 million to a developer who has essentially done nothing for 5 years. You take $1 million and you put it on the 500 block, you know, for one of the owners over there, then now their buildings are restored and there's more business in there. You take another $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, and you spread it out over another 7 or 8 blocks. And now we have 7 or 8 blocks of development versus we have an empty lot. So we have to be intentional about investing in who loves Birmingham.
Okay. Talking to Brian K. Rice here. Some things we probably didn't mention that you've been wanting to mention. I'm going to give you the last 5 minutes here. Something that you wanted to bring to the listeners' attention and those who are probably on the fence, like, who should I vote for? Why should it be Brian K. Rice and your plans? Let them know why your plans is the better plan.
Well, I want to make sure everyone understands that I am committed to integrity. I am committed to make sure we have more guardrails at the city of Birmingham. I do not want us to feel like this is a corrupt city. I do not want that to be a standard. Let's recreate a new standard. I am not like the politicians. I'm extremely concerned about re-electing politicians. They have legislated our failure. They have approved our failure. They have turned a blind eye to our failure. And so why would we re-elect the same people who have watched us struggle and fail for 20 years, 15 years, 5 years? So I am one of you. I am a business owner in downtown Ensley. I live next to the gunshots. I do not have to. I live in the community. I put center block around my walls about 6 feet tall just so I can feel comfortable sleeping in Ensley. I am committed to being in your city, in our city. I am committed to being here. So I want to make sure people understand if you keep voting the same type of people in who've learned how to tell you the right thing every 4 years, and you vote them right back in, you're going to get the exact same thing. If you vote Brian K. Rice, you're going to see a guy with an expansive vision. We must build up the airport area. When you go to other cities, these airports are built up. There's hotels, there's restaurants. We must build those up. We can't wait till a Church of the Highlands spread over that far. We got to build up. If we're going to lose assets, how do we create other assets? It's a lot of money around that area. But our assets are in our underdeveloped neighborhoods and business districts. That's a lot of revenue that's not being generated. So we have to figure out how to create economic strength, but then we have to figure out how to create safety across the city. And so regardless of what part of the city you live in, I know the other thing, when I was reading the North Side, South Side Framework Plan, it is the most detailed plan in the city of Birmingham. It goes from roughly Glen Iris all the way up, past Druid Hills, all that good stuff. It is the most detailed plan. Anybody who want to learn what everything that the city can do, you read that plan. You'll see all the ideas for economic incentives and everything. It's all in the plan. But then when you go to other plans, it's kind of there, but it's not there. So it's there. So if you vote for Brian K. Rice, you're going to vote for someone that will be unapologetic about standing up for those who have been hurt over the years, will be unapologetic about helping the least of these. We got to do something with our squatters. How do we use public works? If we don't have enough staff, but we've budgeted for the staff, then how do we use that funds to pay for contractors to hire local people who may be out on their luck, and that we can hire? This is just a variety of different things that we can do.
Sounds like you got a plan, and plan without action ain't gonna work. So you got to put that in the order. I'm glad you came back. I wanted you here for an hour. I'm trying to look at my schedule, and it is bleak from now to election day. But if I don't see you before then, good luck to you. You came across here today. You told us some stuff we didn't know, told us stuff that I didn't know, and hopefully we get you back here. Hopefully, if I can, before the election. Okay. Godspeed to you, that BK. Coming up, we got take your questions and your thoughts right here at 205-994-8949. Hang on, y'all.
V94.9 WATV, where the winning resides.
Right here.
Hey, Birmingham.
Hey, baby.
The winning keeps coming, and coming. One time for our very own Dee Dee McGuire from Dee Dee in the Morning, and Dr. Shelley Stewart for being inducted into the Radio Hall of Fame.
We got us